So that's the scene in Georgia, but in two other states, North Dakota and Florida, voting rights issues are playing out in different ways for marginalized groups.
And look at the address.
Terrence Yellowfat of Standing Rock updated his driver's license recently, but here's the thing, that's not his address.
7913 West Buffalo.
Yellowfat, like many others in his community, has used a post office box for decades because they have no other mailing addresses, which until now, for voting, worked just fine.
The Supreme Court upheld a voter ID law in October, and the way the law is written, you have to have a residential street address on your ID, and that is very burdensome to Native American voters in North Dakota.
And this isn't just about disenfranchising Native people, it's disenfranchising poor people.
And here's one reason it matters to Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp. In 2012, she got the bulk of the Native American vote, but only won her seat by less than 3,000 votes. So with as many as 5,000 Native American voters now affected by the new address requirements, Heitkamp could end up losing a lot of core voters.
Republicans began drafting this law just 5 months after Heidi Heitkamp was elected to the U.S. Senate, and they wrote the law in such a way that the IDs that Native Americans were most likely to have, their tribal IDs, weren't accepted.
Native American groups are fighting back, rushing out with new ID cards and unique addresses, but they likely won't reach everyone in time. In Florida, the story is a bit flipped. There's a single proposal that could be the biggest boost to voting rights since the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Right now, ex-felons cannot vote, but Amendment 4 would change that, giving the right to more than 1.5 million people in Florida. That means up to 500,000 African Americans getting back their vote.
That would be huge in a state like Florida because you're talking about African Americans in particular being a core segment of the Democratic Party.
We're going to be a state that believes in second chances.
The Democratic candidate for governor, Andrew Gillum, favors this amendment, says the current system is outdated.
Where you got to go and stand before the great governor in his cabinet to beg to have your rights restored.
If it passes, this is a major shift looking to 2020, affecting more than 1 million people in Florida, a state Donald Trump won by 112,000 votes.